Are we running, dude? Alright, so continue on. Sorry, my cameraman got called away for a little bit. So to continue on, you're going to slide this on, clamp it down on the back end of the bolt. Like so, and twist it tight. That's going to compress your piston back inside. Remove that. What we're going to do is we're going to leave this up inside here for a few minutes. Get this someplace where it's going to be stable. Our next order of business is going to be trying to get this rotor off. Now the rotor is a completely different animal because, like I said in the previous video, that there is another set of brakes inside of here. So what we have to do is we have to take the tension off of those brakes. From this turning, what it did was it created a little lip on the inside of the drum, which is this portion of the rotor right here. It created a small lip which will rub against the brake pads as you do that. So what we need to do is we need to release the pressure on the brake itself, and I'll show you where we need to release the pressure on that. We need to come in to the back side, right into this hole here. And what there is there's a small screw that you need to click on and twist in a certain direction. So since I'm on the passenger side, the way I want to twist it is I want to twist that end towards the rear of the vehicle to loosen it. And the way I twist that loose, I slide this in right here, and I feel it catch on the bolt itself, and then I just twist it loose, just like so. Once we have our bolt loose enough, we can grab our caliper and actually wiggle it loose. And now you'll see what I was talking about. These are your extra shoes that are inside that expand here and here when you pull your brake handle or push your brake pedal. What you were doing is when you came in here, you were twisting this nut back here to loosen it. To tighten it, you need to go the opposite direction and twist it up to expand these out. Now let me hand you back to my cameraman. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how tight we need to have these. There's this tool that they sell that's specifically designed for this purpose. And what you want to do is you're going to take your new rotor and you're going to gauge the inside of the drum of the rotor. So you want to take your rotor, flip it face down, open up, back end, and you're going to use yourself a gauge. Now, for those of you who don't have one of these gauges, you can do the exact same thing with a rough estimate using a C-clamp. You open up your C-clamp to roughly the width of the opening of the drum itself. And make sure that you're at the halfway mark. Right about there for my C-clamp is where I would be. So using a C-clamp, you can again measure it out for where you have to be. So these will have to be expanded out until it's tight on the C-clamp. That's the way you use the C-clamp to do that. Otherwise you'll be tightening this down once you get the rotors all back together for a very long time. Using the gauge, place the gauge with the 2 points on the inside and pull out. Give it a twist around to make sure that you're not uneven. Tighten your gauge down using the nut and take it out. And what we're going to do, we're going to come out here, we're going to place the bottom of the gauge and onto the top, right like so. And keeping it flush, you can use your spring. And we're just going to rotate. Come over here and film this, bud. Come over here and zoom in on here. Using the spring, I use the spring itself to rotate just like so until it expands my brake shoes. Remember, on the inside of drums you're dealing with shoes, on rotors you're dealing with pads. So I'm going to expand up my brake shoes until they are touching with the gauge itself. Alright, you span back a little bit. If you see here, we're starting to get pretty close. And this is going to save a lot of time later on, because once we get the rotor back on, we're going to have to go back in with the screwdriver and then try to click this thing towards the front of the vehicle. To get it to tighten up against that, because what you want is you want it completely tight against the drum.
Is this this thing that's coming out?
Yep, that's called a stud. That's what holds your wheel on. Alright? Alright. Make sure you have a little bit of play left, because you do have to fit this over top. So, right there's about as far as I want to go with this. Alright, so now we have those expanded out as far as we can. And jump back in your seat. Now take our rotor, remember, and you're dealing with drilled and slotted rotors, it's going to tell you which side they're going on. If you're not drilled and slotted, it doesn't really matter which side it goes on, just as long as you have the front and rears correct. So this one again says rear passenger side. We're going to take that, match it up with the studs, slide it in over top of the brakes. And now that's in place. We're going to go back to our brakes here. Of course, if you're only replacing the brakes, you don't even have to use this step. You just knock out your push pins, put your new pads on, re-anchor it back down, and you're done. But if you're replacing rotors, you got to go through this whole step here. So now we're going to re-anchor our brakes, put our new brakes on. Slide your push pins back through. Your second set of brakes. Those on in a line there. there. And once you have your ends aligned, you'll find your retaining clip right here.
Dad, are you almost done? Because it says you have 18 minutes left.
Okay. Slide these in, make sure your tips are aligned. Slide this back onto the rotor.
Then we can
Take my hammer, tap my push pins back in. Push pins right here, gotta tap them back in so that they're flush. That they're flush. Realigned. I'll go into the back again. Run your bolts back through. Re-secure your caliper. Alright, you're going to go back to your wrench. This time, righty-tighty. Torque your caliper down.
Dad,
Yes.
do you put the camera somewhere where it will stay up while you're doing it? Because I will go by.
Alright, so we'll take a break for now because my cameraman needs to take a break, alright? So push the little red button on the side.